wanted to show that it rained today for us, and we got this trough that's 150 gallons, and it's roughly half filled. So I would say 75 gallons here. As you can see, the garden is super moist, and all this mulch has captured all the rain and is soaking wet. And it's been a really dry summer this year, and spring in as well. And the clouds are still up there, but it's starting to clear up, which saddens me because I was hoping that it would rain a bit more. And it just drizzled all day. It didn't really pour except for a couple of, like maybe once. This here is a 100-gallon trough, and it's probably got 90 gallons in there. An additional 10 in here, an additional 10 in this one. I also have water in a big greens bin in the front that has probably 65 gallons in there. So not bad for the first rain of this year. I'm going to be using it to actively water my garden and mulch piles so it'll break down faster without using water from the tap, so it won't cost me anything. And I'll be just watering these because in a few days it's going to go back to 81, 82 degrees, high 70s. And I want to be able to water my plants. So from here on out, it's about saving water, whereas earlier this during the spring and summer, it was all about using water from the tap. So let's see. Ooh, we got little baby papayas coming up. The basil are looking nice. I hope they don't die because they're really not frost tolerant. I've got to change out the water over here. As you can see, rainwater's not clear. It's got stuff in it that's brown. I'll change it out tomorrow when it gets a little drier. Let's see. Most importantly though, if you look, the most water capture would be over here in the food forest with all these mulch piles. So that's tons of mulch right there. Like I told you earlier this season, we had one huge truckload, 10 cubic meters of wood chips brought in. And I've recently moved it over this way and organized my food forest to have more mulch at the periphery, and everything's soaked because it's been drizzling all day, and it's watering my plants for me. I didn't water it today, and it looks like a lot because I'm trying to have a jungle, like an abundance of food everywhere, other than where my chicken coop, chicken run, and rabbit pen are. Everything else is going to just be food forest and edible gardens. Basil are doing great. I'm just worried that they're going to freeze over. Here I started cutting down some ginger stalks, so I'm testing if it will take root. Last year I tried that and they kind of died, so they didn't take root. But I'm just checking if it can, and if it will take root and then develop the ginger at the bottom. If not, at least I'll know. So that's the update in this food forest. Hi chickens! They're nice and dry in there. We've got a nice area there. So this is a patch where I had the Bellin Country fire ring type of thing that I had a garden bed here, and I just pulled up the whole ring and left everything that was growing in it here. So I have some yarrow, some calendula, some Thai basil, another type of basil, some marigolds, and more calendula, and the large leaf lettuce, and more basil and more calendula and yarrow. So adjacent to it was just a mat of crabgrass that I pulled up, and I pulled up a ton of crabgrass. As you can see, that was kind of like under there, under the yams. Then I laid out some cardboard here, and then I brought mulch over to this side. I'm gonna have to put more since it recently rained and it's gone down, the mulch, so it needs a little bit more here. So over here is where I brought the fire ring, and I wanted it to be a garden full of this bed to be full of aromatics. So in it I had bought several onion sets. So this was 50 bulbs of onions, variety pack that has yellow, white, and red onions, and I planted them over there. And then shallots, the yellow shallots, these bulbs are larger than the red shallot bulbs, so that'll give me an idea of how big the plants will be. And so I planted them all in this bed. Hopefully I didn't overcrowd them, but I really wanted a bed full of aromatics to use in the spring and maybe the summer. So earlier, probably 3 weeks ago, I had a problem. Something climbed up my Shinseki pear, my Asian pear tree, and broke the tallest branch, about, I'd say, 3 or 4 feet of that branch, the primary branch, which really upset me. But then I decided, let's make something of it. So I put the branch in rooting hormone, and I stuck it in this pot, and I watered it every day, and I placed it in a shady spot, and it seems to be retaining the leaves. And now I've moved it to a sunnier spot, and it rained recently, so it's been relatively mild, so it won't burn, and I'm hoping it'll root and make me a whole new tree. Here are the branches that came off that primary branch of the Shinseki pear. It was a couple more branches, so I did the same thing, and I'm hoping that it's doing well, because the good sign is that the green leaves are there, so hopefully it lives. This one may not, although it has some buds, so not sure. We shall see. Here I had tamarind candy. It's a Thai type of candy, and it's just made of tamarind. And what happened was the tamarind had seeds in it. It's coated with like salt, sugar, and chili, and so the tamarind itself is tangy. It's kind of sour or tart, and so it's coated with those spices, and it tastes really good. And so I thought for sure that the seeds would be viable, because they don't cook the candy, they just coat it. So then I took the seeds and I put them in dirt, and they're growing for me 5, but I think some will die. Tamarind plants. So I'm gonna have to divide it in the spring if it survives. My chili plants are still hanging in there. They have so many blooms and blossoms right now. I can't believe it. And it just rained yesterday, and it's gonna go down to 40 degrees tonight. I'm scared. It has some pretty big chili peppers right now. And I was hoping to wait for them to turn red, but I'm gonna have to pluck some. I already plucked 4 off of this, and now there are still some that I'm waiting to mature. So there are some more down here, 2 of them, and then another one here, a couple more there, a couple more here. So this one's doing really great. I never did cut the branches, so it kind of got really tall on that one. And this one is kind of small, and what I'm doing is I'm putting my potted plants around them to kind of keep them warm and a little dry, because they like hot, dry conditions. And I know they're gonna die for sure. They can't live in this cold weather, so I'll take what I can get. If I can overwinter one, that would be great, but I doubt it. But I know they like to have extra calcium, so I threw some eggshells down there. And my garden bed is doing fantastic. So there are a row of green onions, some purple, beautiful basil. They look so pretty. Some anise, some cilantro, some volunteer tomatoes, which I need to pull out. Ashitaba, a leek head that I grew from a store-bought leek, some collard greens, some sweet peas, some peas, snap peas, some more green onion and stuff, and some nasturtiums. And over here, it's not doing too hot. I'm guessing that the mint rhizomes or roots are stretching out and invading this whole bed, so nothing really is growing well other than a few green onions and a few sweet peas, snap peas, and more green onions. I really love how lush this looks. So it's a bunch of nasturtiums, some mint, some sweet snap peas that are starting to flower. My daughter loves these, so it'll be a great surprise for her. The spicy basil is doing fantastic, and it's not letting up. It loves the heat of summer. However, it's been cooling down, but it's doing really well. And the large leaf lettuce leaf basil are kind of being tucked in and protected by the wind and the cold by the spicy basil. So they're doing fantastic. Really huge leaves. And I put in some nasturtium seeds in here. Nasturtium. And I'm not sure if that is hyssop or a sunflower. So we'll see what kind of flower comes up. And I tucked in some green onions here, and they're doing great. And I love to cook with green onions, so I don't mind having a whole garden of green onions and basil. My dahlia did really well. It didn't like the heat, but now it's starting to come back up. And my calla lily's coming up. It's got speckled leaves. Good morning, everyone. So I wanted to show you my Lowe's haul. What I got was 3 mums for $12.98. And they're in 6-inch pots, so they're quite big. And look at all the blooms. I mean, this is a great price. 3 for $12.98 as opposed to 1 for $8 or $12. The price of the mums went up compared to previous years. I remember buying it for $6. So this one is normally priced at $8.98.
So as you can tell, that's a great discount. So I got this purple colored, 2 of them, and then this bright yellow. And they deter pests, and they add a lot of blooms in the fall. As you know, there aren't that many flowers in the fall, and they just keep giving because as soon as you deadhead these, when they die, then it makes new little ones, and then when those bloom, then a new set of little buds come up. So they're always giving, and they usually survive the cold winters and come back the following year after year. And let's see, it says that they are mounding flowers of foliage, full sun. So you could disperse them throughout your garden or put them under some fruit trees or something like that. So let me show you something. Over here I have a mum that's about 3 years old. I bought it 3 years ago, and I have it grown in the front. And what happened was I took a cutting and I propagated it, and so here I have one, a second little cutting, a third cutting, a fourth cutting, and I think there were more, but they kind of died in the heat of the summer. As you know, it's kind of rough in SoCal. And here's a rose I propagated. We'll see what color it is. And all I have to do is dig it up, put it in a pot, and I can give it as a gift, or I can disperse it to different parts of the garden. And it's a wonderful, wonderful plant that deters pests, even better than marigolds. Have a great day, and check out if your stores have that price right now, that price point, and get yourself some colorful ones. There were white ones, yellow ones, light yellow, like yellow and white, and red ones, that because this is more like an orange one. So go check them out. Have a great day. Hi everyone, I wanted to show you that my trough the trough water is starting to dwindle, and what I'm doing is I am taking the water from the trough. It's the first water is kind of dirty, so we don't pump it into the cistern, and essentially we just pump the water. We get the water, and I just take a little milk jug and I scoop up as much water as possible, and then I scoop them into the fruit trees, and that way I don't use the city water, which is chlorinated, and this water is a lot softer, and it's going to go into my fruit trees, into the potted plants and such. Let me show you. So this pot has moisture. I'm not sure if you can tell. Same as that one. So I spent the morning just hauling water and milk jugs over to here, to these garden beds and to these potted plants. And what I do is give it the soft water. That way I can save money instead of using the municipal water, and I can water the plants from just this one rain alone, and I'll just use up all the water before I start having to use the city water again, which hopefully by then it will rain again and I won't have to. And I water them twice a week or 3 times a week, depending on how hot the days get and how dry the pots get. And I'm hoping that all this stuff that I brought in, all that hard work, is going to pay off in the future in lots of food and less effort. Of course, it takes a lot of effort at first, getting the mulch and bringing in wood chips and bringing in leaves, and trying to collect the rainwater, all that stuff. But after you have your system set up, it should work fantastic for you, and you will have very little work towards the end. In the beginning, lots of work. In the end, less work. So here's my kaffir lime tree, and look at that big lime. There are some little baby ones, and they're coming too. And we tried it the other day in some chicken tacos that we made, and we just squeezed a little bit. I'm sure also if we used the zest, it would be quite fragrant. And I know that these leaves can be used in a lot of curries and soups and all kinds of stuff, and they're very fragrant too. When you crush them, there's quite a scent in them, as well as in lemongrass. Oh my goodness, my goji berry went from bloom to some fruits, and that's the first time I have seen that. That is so awesome. Here's another goji berry. I'm gonna let it grow on here. What I did was I kind of trellised up the goji berry because it was getting really tall and bushy and falling over. And I heard that once the canes fall over, it will dig into the ground and propagate and make more. But instead of doing that, I want it to be a little more woolly. So I kind of propped it up, tied it back, and next year it will grow more at the base, and I'll just prop it up some more, and hopefully I'll get a lot more berries next year. I'm loving this. I could even cut this, stick it in the ground, and propagate more, but I just want this plant to succeed and thrive, and then I can do all the propagations I want afterwards. My Thai basil is doing fantastic. I've been harvesting a lot of basil, Thai basil, lemon basil, blue spice basil, purple basil, lettuce leaf basil, and I've been making pastas. I've been putting it into tuna fish sandwiches as like an extra herb, all that stuff. My bay leaf is doing fantastic. It is now 3 feet tall, and it looks like it's getting little buds, little flower buds or something. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've really seen them, but I try not to water that one too much because it doesn't like too much water. Same with the rosemary, and same with the goji canes. So I know which plants like wet feet and which ones don't, and I try to water accordingly. Anyway, I'm really happy with how the food forest is turning out. I mean, it is so beautiful to me right now. I mean, I planted some nasturtium at the base of my lychee tree, and it's making beautiful bright orange blooms. I love it. Those are edible, and I don't remember when I did it, but I did. I put some Thai basil, propagated it, and put it at the base of this tree. So I'm gonna have lots of things growing everywhere. I should do that for my mango tree and my other trees, just to protect the base of the trees, so that they could stay warm, so that they can keep the water in. And I just love how things are going right now. It's fantastic. Hope you have a great day and plant something with me and have abundance of your own in your garden. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.